Yo, peace. What's good, family? You tapped into Thought Dream Hustle podcast, where we don't chase clout, we chase legacy. I'm your host, DJ Universe, and today we diving into something deep, the genius of Russell Simmons versus the current day power moves of down by law management. Now, this ain't no history lesson. It's a blueprint breakdown for every independent artist, creative, and entrepreneur looking to build something that lasts longer than the charts. So, let's get right into it. We're talking legacy versus leverage, old school foundation meets new school elevation, and how you can use these blueprints to build your own movement. Let's get it. Now, first off, let's give Russell his flowers, and for real, the man took straight up street culture, graffiti, boomboxes, gold ropes, all that, and flipped it into a whole global enterprise. Def Jam, man, that wasn't just a label, it was a mentality. All the big acts, LL, Cool, J, Beastie Boys, Run, DMC, he linked with Rick Rubin and made power moves before anybody even thought of what hip-hop could be. But the thing is, it wasn't just about pulling the best talent. Russell understood the moves behind the scenes. He knew the game of distribution, marketing, and cultural timing. He didn't just let rappers rap. He turned them into brands and made Def Jam a whole legacy. And honestly, that business mindset, he was the first one packing up hip-hop as a real business, bringing our culture to big meetings, making sure we ain't just sitting in the booth, but at the business table too. Like, before there was even a Rockefeller, and before Cash Money, Russell was there, holding it down. So hip-hop got its respect as a serious business. So, let's break down that Def Jam formula, kind of like a playbook for everyone on their grind. First, you find that raw talent with real authenticity. Second, pair them up with edgy beats and authentic stories. Third, push them with unconventional hustles. Think mixtapes, clubs, street teams, wherever the fans were at. Then, when you see the buzz, you scale up, but you don't lose yourself in the process. Russell wasn't out here signing artists to those wild slave deals. He was negotiating with the majors on Def Jam's terms. That's why so many of those artists kept their identity and had creative control. That blueprint? Man, it's still solid, but in 2026, you gotta remix it and use the tools we got now. But the foundation, it started there. Now fast forward to Down by Law Management LLC, and here's where it goes crazy. Where Russell fought so we could get our seat at the table, DBLM just said, we'll build our own table. DBLM is on that 2026 vibe, all about artist empowerment, ownership of your masters, digital first everything, skip the middlemen, no more waiting for some exec to approve your vision. They're doing direct artist to fan. A real community, a real brand, and real ownership. It's the same hustle, but they updated the playbook for today's creator economy. You got your phone, you got your laptop. Now you don't need anybody's permission to build your empire. Here's the real difference I want y'all to think about. Russell was a master at working within the system, navigating, negotiating, opening doors, not just for himself, but for everybody coming behind him. His strategy was, all right, let's make the system work for us. That's legacy building. But now you got DBLM, and they flipping that whole concept. They don't want to play in the old system. They want to build a new system. They're giving artists leverage to run their whole careers like businesses. To me, it's like, legacy is respect, but leverage, that's freedom. Legacy gets your name remembered. Leverage builds your net worth and gives you options. Today, you can't just write bars. You got to handle business, manage your brand like an enterprise, learn contracts, licensing, budgeting, and all that. DBLM, they're not just managing artists. They're schooling them to run things, own things, and pass that blueprint on to the next wave. Kinda like what we talked about before. you need both those mindsets, legacy to inspire and leverage to empower. So, what does that mean for people like us, right? For any DJ, artist, producer, and/or visionary listening in, you got access to both blueprints. Russell's way. Make partnerships, present yourself right, get mainstream reach. DBLM's way. Ownership first, education always, build your own structure. Honestly, that's what I did, moving from Ohio to Florida, launching projects the indie way, but never giving up my ownership. It's a balancing act. Use the best of both. Content and contracts, streams and strategy. Like, your brand ain't just your Instagram. Your leverage is how you own and scale your movement. And here's what every up-and-coming artist has got to know about. All of the new tools. But you need the right mindset first. You can't skip learning about LLCs, licensing, merch margins, and budgeting for tours. That's grown man or grown woman conversation. You want to win? You got to build a community, from fans to mentors. And this is where DBLM stands out. They're all about guidance and helping artists become self-sustaining businesses. Real quick example. We had a DBLM artist who ran their own digital tour, doubled their income cause they owned everything, their rights, the ticketing, and the merch. The whole play. That's power. That's independence. So, as we wrap it up, let me say this. Russell Simmons and DBLM both laid their own blueprints. Study both if you want to build something that matters. It's not about old school or new school. It's about vision, values, and relentless hustle. Every move you make, that's your legacy forming in real time. Make sure you're owning your decisions, from every stream to every sale and every connection. That's the ultimate hustle. Subscribe, repost, and share this episode with someone who's about that empire building life. You're locked in with Thought Dream Hustle Podcast. It's your man DJ Universe. And remember, dream big, hustle hard, and own everything. Teamwork makes the dream work, and hustle is the muscle that moves mountains. So on that note, until the next episode, gratitude, blessings, and one love. Peace.